Sound awakens something deep within. Welcome to this podcast, a space to slow down, tune in, and return to the song of your soul. In this episode, I am joined by Dr. Nisha Manek, who is an integrative rheumatologist yet again. Hello, Dr. Manik. Thank you so much for being back. So, I want to start off by asking you a question that's been on my mind forever. Some traditions believe that chanting or prayer can shift the energetic field around us. From your research, could sound actually prime the environment for healing?
Mm. Well, first of all, Lakshmi, it's so fun to be with you again. And actually, just as I was coming onto your platform, I realized something, and I should say it. I should just say it. Nisha's consciousness is joyful to be with you. We have
Thank
a
you.
spectrum, right? We have a spectrum of how we enter the world. And as I looked at my calendar for today, oh, it's Lakshmi today. Really, I don't plan for a lot of things. And I went about my morning and had my coffee and I sat in meditation and I realized how much I'm having fun with you. Okay, so the Nisha's consciousness is very joyful to be with you. And thank you for reading the question. And let's repeat it again slowly because it's very complex. Your question is loaded. It's loaded. So read it slowly for everyone to get on board again. There's no hurry. There's no hurry. Yeah.
Some traditions believe that chanting or prayer can shift the energetic field around us. From your research, could sound actually prime the environment for healing?
Hmm. It's a very beautiful question. And I think you're quite different than most podcasters. Can I just say this? Because um often, we want to gather information like a decoration that is going to solve my problems, or we want to write to the core. And your question really comes from a bigger depth. Okay. I just want to reflect back. So that's why I said read it back because I could just I remember it from several weeks ago and I couldn't know all of the details. So it's good to revisit it. So the first reflection back to you is this question isn't just an ordinary question to Dr. Manek. This is a very big question and it has to do with God, with our search. We're all searching for something. And I just want to reflect that you invited me to come last week. But I was on my way to a trip. I was preparing to depart for a period of silence. Silence. I wanted to be alone and to be with myself. And that space, talking to your question, was silence, was contemplative. And I went to Albuquerque, actually, New Mexico, to the space of Father Richard Rule. And I didn't want to meet anyone. I don't want to meet anyone. I just knew somehow from his teaching that I was entering a place of contemplation. Contemplation means to be with yourself without any sound. So, to answer your question, and this is the dangerous part. This is the danger. I'm saying a lot of words and a lot of sound, a lot of energy to communicate something, to touch upon the silence. And it's like a finger pointing to the moon. The moon isn't the finger. Okay, it's what I'm saying. Go over there, go over there. So, the language of God is silence. Okay, so I want to park that front and center right off the bat, that the language of God is silence. And it's in Psalm 46, right? Psalm 46 is still and know that I am God. God is this divine field of intelligence. I don't say God is this or that, a form. No, God is formless. There's no entity sitting in a cloud somewhere. I may point up there, but there is no God. Okay? There is no form, because form is form is limited. It's form limited by a thing. It's limited. It's eyes, ears, nose, mouth, ears. So that's what I want to say. First and foremost, that the language of God is silence, and that should be the the ultimate thing about energy, about arriving to that space. And why is silence so powerful? I reflected on this, if you can believe it. Silence is the canvas that you can even hear me. If there was no silence, Lakshmi can't hear this, can't hear anything. So silence is necessary to allow God to enter you. Silence is necessary for Lakshmi to even hear what I'm trying to say, right? It's necessary for your viewer to grasp something that is so elegant and so timeless, eternal. And eternal is nothing to do with time. Eternity is here and now, this present time, this moment, which is pregnant with full of possibility. So silence is really important for God to come, whatever you perceive God to be, to come into your existence, into this moment, and into allowing others, so you can hear them, you can feel them, you can feel their heart, you can feel their reaching, and so you can interface with them. So every encounter you have is rooted in silence. So you can really, it's the biggest gift of universe to the universe, is to be silent. Okay. So all of that we're chanting and prayers and all of this incantations, dear God, hear me. I need a red Ferrari in my garage, right? But it comes from that silence. So that is the first thing I want to say. And so your question has to do with, can we, from this platform of silence, have chanting? And you said some traditions. Now, you're of the tradition of Adi Shankaracharya, am I correct?
Yeah.
And tell the viewer, who's Adi Shankaracharya?
So Adi Shankaracharya is considered the Adi Guru, like the ancient, like the primordial master or the guru that has brought a lot of things into existence, like the monkhood and then the structure to the monkhood, and a lot of discipline, a lot of knowledge in terms of um, perceiving the divinity within. And for that, he has composed also a lot of hymns and a lot of chants that could resonate with anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no one which is powerful. It's just whatever resonates with you at that particular time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your word Adi.
Adi.
Adi Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya, as I understand And by the way, I've been to Kedarnath, India, in the Himalayas, and he wrote his Advaita Vedanta. Advaita means non-dual, that once you merge in with the field, that's what we're talking about here. You merge with the field, then you drop Ved Anta. Anta means the end. There's no need for the Vedas. You drop that away, which is really a powerful idea. You don't get stuck with the Vedas. You don't go, oh, you don't cling it to your heart and say, no, you drop it. There's an easy dropping away, Ved Anta, non-dual. So he is, I think, the first teacher to bring all the various traditions of Hinduism into one, Adi, the first teacher. And the first teacher, even before him, is Adi Yogi, Shiva. The Trinity, right? Shiva, Brahma, Vishnu, I think, right? Do correct me, because my knowledge in this traditions is, very limited. And I think there's great beauty in those traditions. And so you're speaking, some traditions have prayer and chanting to take you to that realization of the teacher within. And, we are very dualistic. Okay, we have all of these things, and what Adi Shankaracharya or any teacher is taking us is on this vertical scale. Vertical, not horizontal or this way or that way. I'm saying vertical. You're really reaching higher up. And there is something about lower and higher here, okay? And we can have rock and roll. Why not? Why not? Okay? But does it lead to an expansion of your consciousness, or are you just becoming entertained and stuck again? So Adi Shankaracharya is saying, let's elevate and quiet. Let's bring you to the silence, and sound is a very good way of taking you right away, because thoughts are things. Thoughts are material things in your, we're having a lot of cacophony, interior conversation. I'm talking to myself a lot. Oh yeah, I do. So going to Albuquerque for a little while, honestly, it was wonderful. And I'll tell you, just getting into Albuquerque, there were so many delays. Okay, I almost thought I'm never going to make it to Albuquerque. And I sat in those seats around the, where those flight attendants are, and they have no idea of what the hell's going on either. And the cacophony of everybody complaining, and me too. And I thought, do I go home? Do I go home? And literally I sat and I closed my eyes and I opened my hands and I just said, okay, whatever is right and in the highest good right now will unfold. And then this air hostess, honestly, she came and said, okay, all these people going on to blah, blah, blah. I'm here for you. I was first in line. Boom. Boom. Was just there. I mean, I didn't plan to be like that. I just was there. And she smiled. She was from Ethiopia. Actually, I said, oh, you look like you're from Africa. And I stuck out my hand and I said, hello, where are you from? She said, from Ethiopia. And I said, well, do you know Swahili? And she says, a little bit. And I'm from Kenya. And she says, I apologize for this delay. And I said, I know you are, because I can see it. So what do we do? How do we get me to Albuquerque? And she says, well, here's my best plan for you. And so I was on my way. Big delay, but I was on my way. And so when I got to Albuquerque, I'll be honest, a lot of noise in the mind. Ugh, I'm hungry and it's 8 o'clock. I can't see this damn location. All the noise was going on. And when I got into the Airbnb, okay, I sat for some time. I sat with me. All of my noise, and because I was safe. Everything was fine. The car was waiting. Boom. I found the thing. I thought, oh my God, it's so pitch black. Turkey is really wonderful in that way. It doesn't have light pollution. You can see the stars, you can see everything. And I got into the location, very easy, clear instructions, and I sat with myself for about 20 minutes. I don't time these things. I just sit. I just sit. And I looked at all of the noise, all of the interior music. Woo! And I was very grateful because the next morning I was literally ready to turn back and go home to California. But the noise became quieter, and the next morning was, I don't know what had shifted, but something had shifted, and I was so happy to be there. And I could find this hermitage, this center. It was literally 3-minute walk. I did not know that. Went there. They greeted me. This wonderful little person greeted me and showed me the meditation room, and I was just boom.
Suzanne.
Was good. So from this place of uncertainty, I didn't know if I was going to make it, and I had all the noise, and I was carrying everybody else's burdens. Okay, because people were in a line. And they wanted to jump the line ahead of me. Like I said, if you need to go somewhere, it's okay. Oh, it's okay, but you go in. And I went, okay, it's okay, don't worry. And the Ethiopian air hostess said, you're right there. It's okay. Where are you going? Oh, we'll do this and then connect you. And then I'm so sorry, we're gonna give you a refund. I didn't even ask for that. I thought, okay, and it's been a process. I have a refund from the airline. To be with yourself, with the uncertainty of life, you have to go and look at the whole drama of it, the whole musical of it, and not resist. There was a resistance, I'll tell you, because I went, I'm going to go home again. So the resistance melted away because I was allowing the noise. And I saw it all, and I said, okay, well, in the highest good, show me what is unfolding now. And I was silent. Then I just went in the seat, in the waiting area, and allowed it to be. Now, it could be everyone's experience different. I'm not saying this is a prescription, but it is for me. I can see the power of silence here, and I felt it. And it was quite funny. And she says, a flight next one is boarding. I put you on it. And I thought, oh my gosh, okay. And I carried my wheelie trolley on and my backpack, and I thought I'll be at the back of the aircraft. I was. And then there was a row of seats empty, and I settled down. And before I knew it, I was at my location connecting to Albuquerque. It was fine. Yes, I was late, but it all worked out, you know. And all the way I said, okay, please. And I'm a big one on meditation, and I think it has been my lifesaver, to be honest. I wasn't chanting anything. I just said, okay, let this unfold in the highest good. That could be a mantra. I'm sure Adi Shankaracharya has something to that effect. So the silence is where everything unfolds, and so you can perceive. And here's something I just want to differentiate. So when you're listening to something, in my case, around the cacophony of a delayed flight, we don't know if it's canceled or not, and all of the disappointment in everyone's, because you're your fellow traveler. We're together in this boat. Row, row, row. Your boat is not happening here. It's not gently down the stream. It's like fighting, right? We're not rowing the boat anywhere. So you can listen to that. You're getting the sound. You really hear it. There's a difference here. You can listen to all of the sounds into your eardrum, or you hear them. What's the difference here? Listening and hearing. And you closed your eyes for a moment. I think listening is a shallower way. You just receive. But hearing it, there's a different mood, a different perception, a different impact into your psychology, into your, you can be perturbed. I was perturbed. I told you the silence within was, oh, will I make it? I was having turbulence, to use airline language. I was fastened in my seat, or was
Right.
I hearing it? And I will say that that Ethiopian airline helper heard me. She just didn't listen. She heard my difficulty just by looking at my face. I hear you. You're from Kenya. Oh, let me look what I can do for you, right? That's not just listening, not just, oh, I got you. Just stand there. Don't talk back at me, which some air hostesses did. They walked away. It took a good 45 minutes for this lady to arrive. So we were all in a, do we go or don't we go? What do we do? Or do we go home? And I could have gone home. I could have. I was ready to. I said, okay, am I listening? Or am I hearing? So to your viewers, are you listening to this? Or are you hearing the deeper notes of what we're talking about? Tell me what you think about listening and hearing from what you have, because you sing the hymns of Adi Shankara, you sing the beautiful poetry that he's, spiritual poetry that he's putting forth.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Manik, but I thought listening is deeper and hearing is superficial.
Maybe I've got it mixed up. Maybe I
I think
do.
that's what I understood all these years, but I could be wrong. But either or, I know one is deeper, one is superficial.
Yeah,
So whichever that is, based on how you perceive, right?
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And the way to perception um, is it disturbing? Because we actually are quiet inside. People say, I have a monkey mind, but the truth is, your mind is 99% silent. It has to be, because then you can listen and hear the sounds. If you are full of noise, which a lot of people, they don't hear anything. I didn't hear that. What do you mean? You heard that siren? You heard the thing? You heard the phone? You heard the beep of the device, right? So then your mind is like a vast stadium, and every seat in that stadium is empty. Your mind is listening to the radio blaring in one corner of that stadium. Excuse me. We're used to tuning in to the radio, but the radio would not be heard if it weren't the silence in the stadium. And that's the good news here, that your mind is already silent. Just reach to it, because that silence holds a potency. You get closer to your inner teacher. But music holds a very important space to quieten that noise. And when you go into the aircraft, you'll see people putting earbuds on and their earphones on, and I did too, put the earphones on. And I listened to um old recorded, you might say, teachings from a wonderful teacher, Joseph Campbell, a hero of 1,000 faces. We're all a hero. We're going into life, and life on earth is so hard. We're each a hero in our own right. We're entering life. So I was listening to Joseph Campbell, and it was quite wonderful. An old 1983 or something, he was talking to Bill Moyers, and I'd downloaded it into my very ancient iPad. Ancient means it's like 10 years old. It still works. And I say, okay, it's falling apart, but I listen to it. I put my earphones on and tuned in, you might say, to Joseph Campbell. So, but music has a very special place because in those notes, it has the power to silence the perturbation. Okay. Is it rock and roll? Is it Muzak of elevator music? Is it Mozart? Is it something even more? Gregorian chanting, I'm thinking, okay? And there is research in medical sciences. Now I'm talking about medicine, and we'll come back to, let's plant this idea right now, because physics speaks to this very, even more powerfully, because you have asked the question, does chanting shift the energies around you into the space, right? That's what you asked. Does the
Right.
space respond? Does the silence of this room of my library shift? We'll come back to that. So, if you look at the different types of music, and also remind me about healing, because we're talking about healing the body. We're very interested in health and healing, right? So remind me, Lakshmi, because I'll forget, I don't prepare for these things. So if we look at the different kinds of music and looking at the response of the heart in real time, how do you know the heart in real time? You can take your pulse. I invite your readers to do that or viewers to do that. You can take your pulse, put your 2 fingers on your radial pulse. This is when you go to the doctor, they're taking a vital sign. Take a vital sign right when you're starting to hear music, okay? And follow that heart rhythm and do all different types of music. And how do you do that? Taking your pulse, or you can take an EKG, the heart tracing. HeartMath has done this. HeartMath of Boulder Creek, California, HeartMath Institute. And by the way, William Tiller, the physicist, did this work. He was the first one to do mathematics that the heartbeat from one beat to the next beat to the next beat is not 100% regular. There's slight variations. And when you do the mathematics on that, you see the harmonics that emerge, okay? And that this mathematics shows that the heart entrains. It's in a healing frequency, zero point 0.1 hertz. Now, I could be slightly off, but I haven't looked at his work in many years, but I know that this mathematics is there and published in Science. But let's put all of that aside for a moment. Just listen that Heart Math Institute, by listening to different kinds of music and chanting, your heart responding in real time, right away. My heart was perturbed by the cacophony of complaints that the flight is canceled or delayed or what is going on. The uncertainty made us all a little nervous. Music has the chance, has the power, should I say, to silence that noise. That's the power of music. Well, what kind of music? And the Heart Math has done this research. You can listen to hard rock, and what will happen to your heart rhythm? What do you think happens?
I honestly haven't heard much of it, Dr. Manek, but from just hearing the word rock, I think it increases your heart rate. It puts you in a high elevated state, like in a very excited state, probably most of the
Tune
time.
to a sympathetic mode.
Okay, that's better.
Sympathetic outflow. Your nervous system is always judging your environment, right? You want to be in sympathetic, flight, fight, excited. You use the word excited, but not in a good way. Or relaxed, hyper aware, ready for anything. You want to be in the parasympathetic mode because life is uncertain. That's the beauty of life. You can't control every single variable, but you are in charge of what's inside. The parasympathetic, so hard rock puts you into a fight mode, excited, frenzy. And that's not going to heal you. Not going to heal you. And so when I go on the freeways of Albuquerque, I heard big rock pounding. I actually rolled up my window. You can hear pound, pound, pound. And this rock and roll next door, next car next to me, I could see that they're really actually closer to the windshield, and they're gripping you can see their state by their body language and the pounding of the rock and roll. Boom. No. And that is where rock and roll resides. When you buy your concert ticket next time and you go into that arena, watch, learn. What is your body really saying here? Is it healing or something else? And you paid $150 for that? Sometimes more. Never mind all of the things you're eating in there. But let's talk about the chanting, right? So that's a form of chanting. Boom, boom. And then comes Mozart, the harmonics, okay, the piano, concertos. And so HeartMath has done music that will take you into the healing mode. So there is beauty in listening to classical music. Have you ever been to a classical concert, Lakshmi?
Yes. Yes, Dr. Manek.
Which one?
Can't remember the name, but this was almost 9 years ago in California. It was an open air concert.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why was it beautiful?
I like the way it was conducted. It's just very harmonic, as you said, very rhythmic, and it's very calming and peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, being outdoors in nature added more to it, where we felt completely present and we even lost track of time.
Mm,
And we in fact, wanted more of it by the time it ended. It's like,
right.
yeah,
Right.
because we were immersed in that moment.
Yes. In the silence of the moment. Isn't that amazing? So it has the power to shift your consciousness. Ultimately, everything we're talking here is about, are you going towards life or away from life? We want to take you towards life, to a bigger bandwidth of consciousness. All right. And so music is a way to get you towards life and towards the silence inside of you. Okay. And, I just attended a piano concert with my 6-year-old nephew. He's playing piano. And as he finishes little piece, silence, bing, unexpected,
Right.
unexpected. He's sitting at the keyboard. Bing. That was the final note. Bing. And then he goes off he bows and goes off. That was actually part of the piece. And so, again, you cannot hear Mozart unless Mozart actually played with silence. Ding. So, every maestro is playing with silence. You have to see the negative spaces, even the artist. Picasso is not Picasso because he did all of those wonderful modern art. He's actually seeing the negative space I'm writing a lecture right now for the College of Rheumatology. When I look at a slide, I'm looking at the real estate, the silence of the slide, and saying to myself, what do I put on there that communicates what I'm trying to say? It has to be minimal. You cannot pack it with bullet points. No one, no one, no one reads it. No one wants the boom, boom, boom of bullet points. No one. And in that, I am very strict with myself. Either I will be booted off the stage. I don't think I will be, because one is there. I was invited as an expert to come and talk about healing with natural remedies. And I'm only too happy to put up my hand and go there. It's a very hard task I was given, actually, because the committee of the College of Rheumatology, and they have a very noisy mind. Listen to what they have said. Listen to what they have asked Dr. Manek, which they never asked Dr. Manek. They just said, boom, boom, boom. We want you to talk about Ayurveda, Chinese medicine, herbs, and we want you to talk about rheumatoid, osteo, psoriatic. And I went, when I got the committee's request, I went, oh my goodness. And I said, I will do it. I'm going to bring back the silence, bring back the beauty of each tradition, because they are you. They've been around. What? Why? And why are we reaching for Ayurveda when we have the best medical care on planet Earth right here in America, right? Right. So what are we reaching for, even in this request, which was very noisy? And then I said, I will do the work. So when you look at a slide, it is also silence. And when Mozart is at the piano and he's writing music, right? He's going, ooh, ooh, write music, write music. What's he doing? He's playing with the silence. Michelangelo, a block of marble. Have you seen Michelangelo's David? David, the iconic statue where he's got his hand and he's about to throw the rock at Goliath. Little pebble. Michelangelo, when he sees the block of marble, Michelangelo says, I'm going to take away the pieces that don't belong. He saw the silence to bring out the form of David. And another one, which is so beautiful, when you enter St. Peter in the Vatican, the Peter's Basilica, you're rooted, you can't move. I was shocked to see Mary holding Jesus on her lap as he has come down from the cross. He's limp. And the silence of that piece that Michelangelo, it's actually arresting in its beauty. Each fold, that's with silence. You can't be noisy and do that. So every lecture, every musical note is founded on the bedrock of silence. So silence is the language of God. We come back to that, right? When we talk about chanting and traditions, the one that comes right off the bat for me, I'm Hindu tradition, and I went to a Christian monastery and I was with St. Francis all weekend and all several
I love
days.
St. Francis. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, dear God, make me an instrument of your peace. So instrument, see? It just comes to me right now. St. Francis, make me, O Lord, an instrument of your will. And Tiller was like that, William Tiller, the physicist. When I left the Mayo Clinic to understand his discoveries, I said, please show me something of your power. I was egotistical. I wanted to grab of something of his power. Until I said, yes, come along, come along. I will teach you. I don't know why he said that to me. Sometimes it's something of a miracle or a marvel, what he saw in me, because I was a noisy, and I still am a very noisy doctor. No, I am. I speak so much. There were times during my meeting with Dr. Tiller that I would say, tell me about blah, 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 blah. What is your question? He would say, tell me about your question, Nisha, today. Every Thursday, we'd meet from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. sharp. When he was at 9, he was at the door with his hat. He would take off his hat, sit on he knew his space, and he would sit, and then he would lean back. What is your question? That's it. Anisha, blah, 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 blah. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. He would reflect. There was silence. And pay attention to the silence. Because from there, he would come with something so beautiful. One time, my question was that science cannot come close to God or in understanding it. And I was like, I've had enough of this. Okay, I can't. Nisha, boom. And he was just very patient. He cocked his head ever so slightly, and I think he even did this. Beautiful. And then he said something which is in Bridging Science and Spirit. Are you listening, Lakshmi? He said these few words, musical. Science is a way to self-knowledge. Science is a way to knowing thyself, self-knowledge. In one sentence. I was so struck. I can remember that day, his silhouette against the bright window. I was so shocked, even. What makes you think? What makes you think that science isn't a way to knowing yourself? Because it's a space of creativity. The laboratory is God's playground, is it not? Just as the keyboard of the piano is Mozart's way of playing with the silence. What is Jesus saying? Know thyself. What is Adi Sankaracharya saying? Know yourself. Why are you grasping? Yeah. And it is in the 7th pillar of Bridging Science and Spirit, because the reader is taken from pillar 1, 2, 3, and you go and you reach 7. And that was that one quote from Dr. Tiller, because it so moved me. And for that meeting, I think I was in silence as he was for a good 30 minutes. There was nothing to say. What can you say? E equals MC squared, who cares? That is just a limitation of man's creation. Man is much bigger than Einstein. Einstein, as great as he was, Isaac Newton, Tiller was standing on the shoulders of giants, and he saw much further. When you stand on the shoulders of giants, you're looking much further, right? You don't get stuck on the shoulders of giants. You don't say, oh, I'm going to preserve this legacy and fossilize it. You want to go much further. When my nephew is playing his little concerto on the piano, he's bringing his own inner Mozart out. He's also seeing a little further. He's tiny, 6. That's education. Now you go in the silence, and then, by the way, he said, it's Swadhyay today. You know what Swadhyay is? Swadhyay is Sunday school for children. Swadhyay. He goes to Swadhyay. Yeah, Sunday. This child goes, and he learns a lot. He sits there and this teacher is saying all kinds of things in Irvine, I don't know, I've never been there. But he goes. He doesn't complain. Oh, I want to go and play, and I want to watch, Curious George on TV. I bet he does do some of that. I don't know. I live alone, and I know my nephew is not too far, but my brother takes him to Swadhyay. Why does he do that? Because in the silence, in the silence comes those teachings. And I know Adi Shankaracharya is one of the teachers that they celebrate in Sunday school. You were about to say something.
No, I was about to say, why do they send? So they can learn to be in that calmness and to learn more about themselves.
But you see, so the Swadhyay gives you information. This is a form of language. Music is a form of language. To communicate, you can have drumming, or you can pluck a guitar, or you have the human voice, or so you feel it. You feel it. And that, I would say to your viewers, when you're in a rock and roll concert or you're in a Mozart concert, feel. The human voice is the greatest instrument. And I'll share something personally. When I was in medical school, I went to Glasgow University, Scotland. Scottish schools are very different than English. People think England, Scotland are one and the same. No, they're not. No, they're not. I did not know that. But I went to Scotland, thank God. And they taught in Latin anatomy, because everything that is in your anatomy book is Latin, right? They name things and categorize in Latin, and I don't know Latin. But the students who grew up in Scotland do. My peers in medical school, in my classroom, they were on a speed, and I was struggling. I had no idea what they were. You have to memorize things. So I'm struggling, frustrated. I don't know what these things mean. And these kids are they're on the next chapter, and I'm going, what the hell? Literally, HELL is a 4-letter word. So I'm sitting in my residence hall study room, and and then I put my earphones on. Well, you know what I bumped into? And I did not know what I was listening to. And years later, when I look back, I think, I had no idea, but somehow God knew. God knew. I was listening to monastic Gregorian chants. Italian monastic. I had no idea what they're singing. Ooh, yeah. I had no idea. But it calmed me down. Hallelujah. Whatever. I'm good. I can get this. I get this. I know the heart. I know these blood vessels. I know the muscles and how they attach. And when the exam time came, hallelujah. I could answer those questions, okay? This is literally what happened. And did you know Edinburgh has done this work? That if you want to memorize something, listen to Bach, listen to chanting. You will form associations unconsciously or subconsciously that serves you at the right time. There's beauty in this. And so I'm listening to Gregorian chanting with this human voice without any instruments. There's no accompaniment. There's nothing, right? I don't know how I even came to it. It may have been a bookstore. I was really struggling. And there it calmed me down, and I was at home. I found the silence, and I could look at all of this content, the noise, boom, 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 the content of medical instruction that I have to know to be able to proceed in my studies. So if any of your viewers are struggling with children, grandchildren, with school, and they're watching their TikTok, put Gregorian chants, let them watch the device. It can be a gift, a tool to higher realities. Don't shirk it. Don't avoid it, but choose wisely, which is what Tiller is trying to say to me. Stop your searching in your physics book. Science is a way to self-knowledge. Stop complaining. And then it all fell into place. I could feel the truth behind his words. Tiller is a sage. Tiller is a rishi. Rishi is a sage. He's a mentor worth following. He's not into popularity contests. He's not like Einstein. No, give me another certificate. He didn't say those things. He was just totally at home in his heart. And he was very silent. You couldn't grab his silence, You could say this and this, and he would say, okay, dear. He would leave me with my noise, but he didn't engage with my noise. When I look back, I recorded all of our videos. They were I put a flip camera, thousands of hours of video, which, I could go and look at them. And, sometimes I do, and I'm cringing at my own noise because I jump in, I interrupt him. I was not silent. And it was only now. And Tiller says, be at home with your noise. And I insist you stay with that because the stacks come up and they resolve themselves. A stack comes up. That's why I know the beauty of going to Albuquerque with all of the noise with me and just stay with it and accept it. I don't resist it anymore. I used to go, oh, my monkey mind. But now I go, oh, there it is again. Oh, there it is again. And then I pet it like a teddy bear. Oh, you sit over here for a minute and then we'll come back. So I know we're talking a lot and maybe oh my God, we're at an hour. We're barely begun. So, it's that sound. So let me talk about Tiller for a moment because we're talking about the space. We're talking about the space. In any experiment in science, we have a hypothesis. Tiller's hypothesis was that the human consciousness intention, a thought, like an intent, one singular thought, intent, not impact a material thing, human enzyme, alkaline phosphatase, right, which runs all of the machinery in the human body, that his thought cannot impact a petri dish and the enzyme sitting in there. And he showed, yes, it can. The human thought improves the function of that enzyme and makes it better machinery. Let's just put it like that, okay? So the thought has its function and you are in charge of that thinkingness. You are creating the intention. You're creating the language, you're holding it, all of that. But what Tiller didn't know, and this is what was so shocking about the discovery, was when you hold an intention again and again and again, one and again, that the space of that lab shifted. How did it shift? When he was monitoring the target, the enzyme, and seeing the enzyme's potential enzymatic activity improving, And by how much? 25%. That's incredible. So if you have 5 molecules, it's doing the work of 6. My math may be off. Just like listening and hearing, it might be off, but you know what I mean. That's really something. Without any other, you didn't put any chemicals, you didn't put any caffeine, you're not doing anything to the human body. Just by your intention alone, you can enhance its function, its enzymes. And enzymes are very important for the body's health. Okay, but what Tiller found was that in the space of where that experiment was being done, you monitor the ambient conditions of that lab space. You have to. That the air temperature was rhythmic. There was a frequency to it. Rhythmic. Boom, 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 boom. Hertz, right? And the amplitude was huge. It wasn't this tiny little random thing. No, it was huge. Very rhythmic oscillations of the room temperature of the lab itself. And he was very, very curious. He thought, oh, it must be the air conditioner, kicks on and off. So he put an air fan in the lab space. And if it was air molecules as oscillating, when you put an air fan, what do we think it will happen to those oscillations?
They would change,
They would disappear
right?
immediately. But they continued. Wasn't air molecules. What is it? That's very important to say right now. What was flapping? Put it another way. What is oscillating? And it is coming to the cornerstone of physics itself. Empty space. Empty of anything. Silence, right? What is oscillating? Non-dispersive medium, as Tiller calls it in his physics language. There is no stuff. There's no electrons, no air molecules. And he had touched on the first level of empty space, physical vacuum. What is empty space? We think my desk is solid. Oh, sorry. It's not solid. It's empty space, right? What holds it together? The attraction between molecules. But it's really empty space, and our reality is empty space. Since we're talking about silence and all, and what Tiller found then was that these oscillations, very rhythmic, not due to air, is something else entirely. Human consciousness is touching physical reality at its most primal, empty space itself. This is the most important part that we're talking about. He's showing us something so profound. Well, what do we do with this oscillation? He did mathematics, Fourier analysis, and he showed that the air temperature, the apparatus of the actual, sensors, they were oscillating too, boom, boom, very rhythmically, not only in the target, but in the room, outside the room for about 10 feet. When you do mathematics, it's like the whole lab space has harmonics. Are musical. It's like if you were playing violin, cello, and a viola, the string quartet in the lab space, they're all in harmonics. The lab space is pulsing, but you can't hear it. Isn't that amazing? Isn't it amazing that human intention is impacting the space of your home, your bedroom, your living room? Your intention is everything. That you by your music inside, your thoughts is impacting the space into a certain harmonic. You can you cannot hear it, but you sure feel it. I can feel my library space and it feels different than if I walked into my kitchen. Each space has its signature of harmonics. Is it boom, boom, boom? Noisy? Or is it, I'm home again? I'm home again, right? We go, I'm home again. You feel my favorite chair, my own bed, my own things, right? It's healing. And since we're talking about music and human health, every part of the human mechanism, its organism, is tuned into that. Outer and inner. You reflect. Everything outside is a reflection of the inner condition, no matter what you say. My being out there in that airline lounge was a condition of my inner state. And let me tell you something. When I was coming on that Lyft taxi, on that freeway, it was totally blocked. I don't know why. That driver saying, oh my God, this is so unusual. The noise started. The noise was there. When I get onto the airline, oh, delayed. I went, ugh. It was there. It was there all along. The noise was there. I accepted it. I personified it. And I made stories about it. The mind is so fast. You you know, it was like now, because of my meditation, I could watch with awareness. Oh, another thought came. Oh, look at this. It could be delayed and canceled. I even entertained for a moment the word canceled. You see, it was so fast. And I'd say, oh, Nisha, the mind is so noisy. It's coming up again, coming up again. And I entertained it. And I went into the lounge with my boarding card, and then it said cancel, not cancel, sorry, delayed, and then long lines. And then this wonderful Ethiopian air hostess came and said, hello, can I help you? So all of that music inside was showing itself on the outer conditions. I was my creator of my reality. There is no way I'm a victim of anything. I'm not. I invited it. And it's a lesson for me to see that, to respond to it in whatever way. There's no right or wrong. We're either in that vertical scale towards life, or you would just stay where you are. There is a reason for everything. Everything. Okay? So when it comes to the body's healing, here's what I tell my patients, and I do ask them about this, by the way. Not only what you're eating, what are you eating in your diet? What are you seeing in your diet you're taking in? What are you listening to and taking in? Because that's your diet. And that diet has profound implications for your healing. If you're listening to rock and roll all day and your CNN is on all day and you're in this fear mode, there's nothing a doctor can tell you. Nothing. They think it's just white noise in the background. Oh, doctor, I need the news at night before I go to bed. There's nothing I can do. I even say, well, okay, you have that choice. I'm just making you aware. And then, just take this prescription to go listen to Mozart for a bit, you know? And so, can you create healing spaces in hospitals? Absolutely, you can. One of my prescriptions, actually, for my patients on my private side, because I also do rheumatology consultations on rural America. I go to give rheumatology. There is just conventional. I say, okay, what's wrong with you? I listen to them. I say, I know what you're saying. I know what you have. And they go, what? I go, yeah. And I ask a few more questions, and their replies I expected, because medicine is a pattern recognition, let's face it. But in a deeper sense, I want to know what they're doing. I walk in their shoes for a bit, okay? So when it comes to the auditory prescriptions, I do solfeggio. I prescribe solfeggio. And I say meditative mind, again, meditative mind, YouTube, free, 9 solfeggio tones. And I tell them, don't be worried about starting with tone number 1 or 7. I don't care. Switch it on, put your headphones on, close your eyes, just be. 5 minutes, 10. I'm not even going to say that much time because they go, I don't have time, right? They want to spend half an hour with you, but they won't take your prescription. Just say, okay, 1 minute. How do you feel now? Doctor, I felt so much better. Okay, I didn't give you a drug. What happened? What do you think happened there? Solfeggio tones, if you trace back the story, do you know the solfeggio tones? Tell me what do you know about them?
I came to know about them a couple of years ago, Dr. Manik, when I was recording Soundarya Lahari of Adi Shankaracharya. Like,
Uh-huh.
I learned that they're the healing frequencies and they have different frequencies for different things.
Stress different ailments or
Yes.
human condition or
Yes.
can pump you, if you're close to a quiet mind, you can dwell actually in any of the tones. I do it too. Tone 1 through 9. If you look historically how the tones came about, now again, I could be wrong, it goes to John the Baptist. The preacher, John the Baptist, he was a cousin of Master Jesus. And he brought out the tones, and he was in nature. He listened, he lived with nature. Did you know that? He didn't have any belongings, homes, no real estate. He would go from town to town and say, Here, I baptize you with water, but he who comes now will baptize you with fire. He will burn everything that you hold to be true. Let go. So he baptized Jesus in the river Jordan. So the solfeggio are pure tones. As you said, frequencies, there are certain hertz. Hertz is cycles per minute is a frequency. And it starts with none all the way. You can heal with solfeggio. Yes, you can absolutely heal with solfeggio. I'm not saying don't go to your doctor. It would be foolish for me to say that. But as a prescription, in addition to everything you're doing, foods, vitamins, put solfeggio in there. Sorry. Humid in California suddenly.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Okay, bottom line. Language of God is silence. Note the silence between things. Make that your fundamental reality because you already are that. Your mind is silent. And if you were to choose music, feel its impact. Use the pulse. Yeah. How does it make you feel? And can you choose again?
Music, doctor? Are you asking me about the music?
No, I'm just saying, let's do some bottom line summaries. We've talked a long time.
How does it make me feel? I feel like I am hearing yes, I'm hearing what I felt true all these years, like how sound takes me to silence more easily. And also, these different sounds can have different impacts on me. Like, have you mentioned the air? Go ahead, doctor. If you want to get a drink of water, please.
Honestly, it's like a tickle. Let it come. Hmm.
Releasing something, your throat.
It sure is. My nose is slightly drippy too. It's all good. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
So, what I learned through sound is how you've mentioned earlier, like how you're put in certain situations, like you were at the airport, and how you entertained that thought of it's getting delayed, or we are stuck, or it's going to be canceled, all of that. So, how we feed with whatever we feed ourselves with. For me, in specific, it's sound because I resonate more with it. Is how our internal environment is going to be impacted, and in a sense that is going to show up in our external environment, in how people react to us, in how we create these conditions of calmness, peace, or anxiety, frustration. Um, and of course, as you've mentioned, how the solfeggio frequencies, how they came from John the Baptist. In the same way, we have these beautiful hymns that were written by Adi Shankaracharya, for example, because those are what I chant mostly. They were also given for different reasons, and they were also given from the source. And I resonate with them because I have lived with them for quite a few years now. And I've seen how they have shifted my frequency within, and how at each point of my life, they were like my pole star, helping me navigate through that moment, just being present and not trying to resist anything, like you've mentioned earlier. Like that resistance is what it took me away from. And to
Mm.
just be there and to kind of watch it and just to trying to like tread along, it may be very suffocating at that moment. But what they teach me is just to be with that sound, immerse myself in that sound, and to be present in that moment, however it feels, and just let it pass.
Yes.
And as you pass through it, you're going to come out of it. You have to come out of it. And part of that process is also teaching you how it feels in light and also in darkness.
Mhm.
Because in that darkness is when we appreciate the light. Because
Yeah,
if we are,
I've heard somewhere that the angels are jealous of us, and I think, what? What do you mean by that? Because we have the contrasts. We feel the contrasts. Yeah. And it's a vertical line. We feel and we grow, and our soul, um, our consciousness expands, and that's what you're saying. And that you're only subject to what you hold in mind. That's actually one mantra. You're only subject to what you hold in mind. So the power of music has a power. The right form of music has the power to transmute consciousness from base, anger and greed to something quite sublime. But you are anchored in that. You own it. You own the all of the crappiness. You don't resist it. Like I said, everything has a reason, and you don't blame it or point towards it or anything. You simply, there it is. It's different. It's not, you're not better than it or higher than it, or it's necessary there for it. There's a perfection to all of life. One thing we talked just briefly on TikTok and choosing the right material as a tool. One way, actually, when people ask me, and I get these questions from patients, would you believe, Dr. Manek, how can I make my grandchild closer to God, or how can I facilitate? And it's a very wonderful question. And just like you've said, you play the music in the home or the office, like elevator music is playing all the time. It sets the mood. Like that, you have this in low volume, you're just playing it. And it entrains the nervous system. It does shift. Like he's playing the piano. Bing. I mean, it just, I don't know, it just did it. And so, way to divinity. Divinity is beauty in all of its forms, whether it's Michelangelo, an equation, you you expose that child to Shakespeare, sonnets, opera, Mozart, flowers, gardens, and also the silence. You give them the silence, and just a bedtime story, and then and on that note, we should even end here on a bit of a slight meditation, which I'd like for you to lead for just 30 seconds, a minute, that we contain, because we've talked of very high things. I'm not judging. I'm just saying we're talking about chanting and creating energy that envelops us, and that we come from that platform of the language of God is silence, and everything else is to color that, to take us back to that reality. Yeah.
You, Dr. Manek, and thank you so much for your time and also for giving me this opportunity to lead this meditation.
From
It really
20 minutes to 1 hour, I don't know what we've done here, but
I
anyway.
know 15 minutes at right now. So this meditation is like about 7 minutes roughly. So this is a heart brain coherence meditation. This is my favorite because I feel like that's where we need to be coherent, the heart and the brain, so that way we can feel that energy and keep it aligned all the time.
Well, you know what we say, mind over matter. And I always correct my patients, it's heart over matter.
Yes,
Heart
heart
over
center.
matter, yes.
So, yeah, before we begin our meditation of heart brain coherence, I ask that you find a comfortable position by keeping your eyes closed and your spine straight. Gently bring your attention to your breath, inhaling through nose and exhaling through mouth. Now just relax those shoulders and settle into the stillness. Gently bring your awareness to your heart space. Place your hand over it to connect physically. Slow down your breath. And imagine breathing in and out of your heart space. I usually envision a tiny nose on my heart center, so that helps me imagine this easily. And as you inhale, inhale gratitude. And as you exhale, exhale all the worry. Inhale peace. Exhale tension. Keep watching your breath here in this space for just a minute. Now, I invite you to think of a fond memory that fills your heart with love and joy. Stay with these emotions and let them fill up and expand your heart space. Visualize these emotions radiating outwards and creating a warm glow around the chest. This glow become wider and wider. As this glow becomes wider, shift your focus from your heart space to your brain. By visualizing this white light forming a connection between your heart and brain, creating harmony and balance by flowing freely. Stay present in this connection and see the white light becoming stronger and stronger. This is a time where you can repeat any of your favorite affirmations, like trust the wisdom of my heart and the clarity of my mind. I am calm, connected, and in harmony with everything. My heart and brain are aligned in harmony. Keep watching your breath. Slowly bring your awareness back to your surroundings by wiggling your fingers and your toes. Open your eyes gently whenever you feel ready. Take a moment to reflect on how you're feeling before you continue your day. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you have a day filled with harmony. Om, peace, peace, peace.
Wonderful. I could have stayed in that meditation a lot longer. I actually feel a lot of healing stream, as I call it. The subtle energies are pumped up. I feel them. The subtle energies, your acupuncture, chakra systems, um, they engage in the silence. That's all it takes to renew and rejuvenate and heal the body, you know? And this was shown actually by many guru teachers. And one of them is Vinoba Bhave. He was a Gandhi follower, but he was sick. And then one of his chelas his followers found him some months later. They said, Vinobaji, you have to go doctor. And Vinobaji, just shakes his head. When the Chela sees Vinoba again several months later, Vinoba is in robust health. And Chela asks Vinobaji, how? What happened? Vinobaji says, oh, I just surrendered to Prabhuji. Surrendered. So he was surrendering. He says, I meditate and I gave it over. It's not me. It's not me. It's not mine. My this. We own everything. My thoughts, as though thoughts are private. They're not. No, they belong to the field. They're not private. And that's the most remarkable thing when you realize these things, that then you have a duty, really, to help your fellow man to have the peaceful thoughts, because they're feeding into the field all the time. Yeah. So your meditation is very powerful. It's a very, very beautiful, and I hope you're teaching this in the Dignity Hospital system. Yes, I totally say go for it. And remind them, and remind them, and remind them, because the cacophony of noise and fear that's ever present in people has a looser hold, and it just dissolves. But it's there, but it's so in the background, they can emerge through. Yeah.
Thank you for
Good to
your time.
spend time with you again.
Oh,
Next
same.
time I will not talk so much.
No, if you don't,
10, 20 minutes. I really did. It's and out.
yeah, it's an hour and a half on one single question. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're
That
welcome.
was really detailed and deep.
I hope it's of value to your viewers. I really do.
I think so. Yeah. And I have to re-listen few times so to let it sink into my consciousness. So
I think you're right there already, Lakshmi. I told you your question is very different than what I usually get. It's usually, tell us one thing. I only want one paper. I want the answers to the universe and its mysteries in one thing. I'm thinking, okay, try.
thanks for tuning in. Take a deep breath, carry the peace with you, and I will see you next time.